What's the most damaging way your company tried to screw you out of money? I was working at a financial services firm back in 2000. It wasn't some small shop either. This place had around 1,800 employees, and about 200 of us were in the sales force. The company had a reputation for paying really well, and one of the biggest perks was the annual bonus structure. It wasn't a random payout either. It was a clear formula. Sell a certain amount, hit the target, and you'd get a corresponding bonus. It was black and white, in writing, and everyone knew exactly what they'd earned. That year, the company had just come off the best year in its history. At the annual meeting in April, the CEO got up on stage and bragged about record-breaking numbers, higher sales, and how the company was stronger than ever. Everyone in the room was buzzing, because when the company did well, we did well. The next month, in May, we each submitted memos to justify our bonuses. It was mostly a formality. I laid out the sales growth in my territory, broke down what percentage of overall revenue I had contributed, and felt confident. After all, if this was the best year ever, how could they not pay out? Then June rolled around. I opened my statement and saw a big fat zero, no bonus. And I wasn't the only one. Less than 20% of the sales force got paid. The rest of us, more than 150 salespeople, got nothing. The sales floor erupted. Angry emails were flying. People were openly yelling at supervisors, and productivity tanked. It only got worse when we found out supervisors had been allowed to award themselves bonuses. Some refused out of principle, but plenty of them cashed in. My own boss took his. When he tried to justify it to us, his entire team tore him apart. The sales floor basically shut down. People were late, leaving early, or just not showing up. I came in, parked myself at my desk, and spent the day browsing Monster.com for new jobs. When my boss asked what I was doing, I told him straight, I wasn't making another sale until I received the bonus I'd already earned. Until then, he could expect me to keep showing up late, reading job ads, and leaving early. The next day, I got called into the regional sales manager's office. She tried everything, being friendly, stern, even angry, but I didn't budge. I calmly told her that the company was losing money every day I didn't work. I even did the math for her, pointing out how much revenue my territory averaged daily, and how cheap it would be to just cut the check and get me back on the phones. Then I thanked her for her time, told her I'd be leaving work as soon as I left her office, and walked out. The following morning, I checked my email. More coworkers had resigned. A little later, I got called into the office of the national sales manager, the guy in charge of all 200 of us. He told me he understood why I was upset. I asked if it was his idea to withhold bonuses from 80% of his sales force. He didn't answer, but he did tell me I'd have a check on Monday. I told him that was great, but I wouldn't make another sale until the money was in my hand. By the next day, the company caved. An email went out to the entire sales force announcing that management had reevaluated the numbers and bonuses would be issued shortly. It was framed as if they'd just discovered a mistake, but everyone knew what really happened. They had tried to pocket millions by stiffing us, and it blew up in their faces. That same day, the national sales manager walked up to my desk personally and handed me my check. I thanked him, then handed him my resignation letter effective immediately. I requested that a check for my unused vacation time be cut before I left the building. While I cleaned out my desk, another coworker resigned on the spot too. We walked out together, cashed our checks, and headed to the bar across the street to celebrate being free. In the following 2 months, I heard the company lost about 20% of its entire sales force. Even though they paid the bonuses, the damage was already done. When a company shows you they're willing to cheat you out of money you've earned, there's no rebuilding trust. That was the day I learned something that stuck with me ever since. Corporate greed can cost them a lot more than just money. Sometimes it costs them the very people keeping the business alive.